Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Greetings from Koh Samui. Beautiful weather today. I'm sitting out here on my outdoor patio. And in this video, I want to go through and address some of the most commonly asked questions from retirees that are looking to make a permanent or temporary move abroad to Thailand. Link in the description below where you can sign up for my free newsletter. It's growing really fast. I'm getting more people coming in every single day. And I asked ChatGPT to come up with 10 questions, the most common questions asked by retirees coming to Thailand. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Question number one is, what are the visa requirements for retiring in Thailand? So in order to legally retire over here, you need to get what's called a retirement visa, either non-OA or non-OX. And in order to qualify for the retirement visa, you will need to be a minimum of 50 years of age. And you'll also need to put 800,000 baht into a Thai bank account, which is roughly $26,000 USD. You can also hire an agency to do this for you. So basically they put the money in, and then once you have it, they take it back out again. So that's always an option as well. If you need any information about the best agencies, if you're looking in Samui, just let me know in the comments below and I'd be happy to provide some information to you. And then again, you can also sign up for my free newsletter, link in the description below. And you'll also typically need to show proof of health insurance as well. Lots of options to choose from there. I recommend Safety Wing. They're actually one of my affiliates. So if you want to check that out, again, in the description below. But there's a lot of different options to choose from in terms of insurance. You can also get insurance while you're over here. So yeah, those are the things that you'll need in order to get the retirement visa. And, if you don't have $26,000 lying around, then chances are you're not retired and you need to continue working on the financial proof of funds, basically, right? And that's the case for any visa, not just the retirement visa, also the DTV, LTR, Smart Visa, pretty much anything you want to do over here will require proof of funds. Question number 2 by ChatGPT is, how much money do I need to retire in Thailand? And that's going to entirely depend on, your living standards and how well you want to live over here, right? Some retirees, they can get by on, $20,000 a year if you're living very, very cheaply, such as myself. Or other people, they need hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. It's going to entirely depend on how well you want to live over here, right? But I would say the average cost of living for just an average normal person is going to be 50,000 to 60,000, maybe up to 80,000, 100,000 baht per month. So that's anywhere from about 1,500 up to $3,000 per month. And the monthly budget for essentials like housing, food, transportation, and healthcare is going to be roughly the same, right? And you can find housing over here for very affordable. My place where I rent here is less than $600 a month. It's like $560 a month for a brand new house. So it's definitely possible to find very cheap accommodation, even in a place like Samui, which is considered one of the most expensive places to live in Thailand. Last point here is any specific financial requirements for the retirement visa. And typically, no, you just have to show the proof of funds. And there's no real income requirements as far as I understand it, right? As long as you just put the 800,000 baht in there, leave it in a bank account, should be good to go, right? Question number 3 is, where are the best places to retire in Thailand? This is one of the most common questions that I get asked from people. I've been living in Koh Samui for roughly 3 going on 4 years now. And there's a lot to love over here. It checks a lot of my boxes. And then also for my retired friends as well. I got plenty of retired friends over here. They typically travel back and forth between Samui and their home country, Canada, US, Australia, these sorts of places. But they keep coming back to Koh Samui because just of excellent quality of life. You can get really nice houses if you want to buy a house or even rent a house over here. Lots of options to choose from. Beautiful weather year round. So there's also Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Phuket. Maybe you want to live out in the rural parts of Thailand. You can go up to Isan and, just live on a farm somewhere if that's your style. But there's a many, many places to choose from. But I would recommend Chiang Mai if you want a very, very low cost of living. And you can have an excellent quality of life up there and not break the bank. And I've lived in Chiang Mai as well for around 4 months during the pandemic. So I know a lot about Chiang Mai as well, although I would recommend not visiting between the months of like February to April because that's burning season and it becomes extremely polluted, like one of the most polluted places in the entire world during those months. So something good to know if you're looking to potentially retire in Chiang Mai. And also Hua Hin, before I forget, Hua Hin is also, I think it's one of the most popular retirement destinations in the world, according to Forbes magazine. I'm not sure if you can really trust what Forbes says a lot of times, but they highly recommend Hua Hin if you're retirement age. And I have friends who have bought houses up there. In fact, one of them is looking to sell his villa. He just put up a video a couple days ago. His channel is almost retired in Thailand, and his channel is growing really, really fast. He's looking to sell that villa. I think it's 2 or 3 bedrooms for only $130,000. And it's a brand new villa with a spectacular view. So that just goes to show what you can find up there for not that expensive. I mean, if you were back in the US, $130,000 would get you like a shack down by the river. So, and then there's also Pattaya as well, very close to Bangkok. A lot to love about Pattaya. I haven't been back for like 4 years now, but it's there's a lot to do there. Very active nightlife scene. And like I say, it's very close to Bangkok, so you can easily just travel back and forth, as is Hua Hin as well. So that's one of the reasons Hua Hin is such a popular retirement destination, very close to Bangkok. I could go into a lot more detail about this one. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments below. Number 4 is also a very common question is what is the healthcare system like in Thailand? And I will say, just from personal experience, healthcare over here is excellent. Recently went in for a full checkup here at Bangkok Hospital here in Samui, and I spent about 1,500 bahts. That's like $45 USD to go in to Bangkok Hospital, which is widely regarded as one of the best hospitals in the entire country. And they have a branch here in Samui. So I went in there and it took about 30 minutes. They did all the blood tests. I had to do a urine test. They also did an electrocardiogram as well, and that gave them everything that they needed for the test results. I was able to sit down with a doctor for about 20 minutes. I asked him all the questions that I had. He answered everything, very professional, and I was very impressed. Also, the hospital over here looks a lot like the airport inside, which is like one of the most beautiful airports in the world. I think it's the same owner. So I was really impressed. And like I say, it was like a quick in and out procedure. I went back 2 hours later, went in, I was able to get my test results and everything. Then I also got the medical certification over there, which I need to renew my driver's license as well. So very, very easy. And a lot of people actually come to Bangkok specifically for medical tourism in order to save on, let's say, maybe they have an operation or they want to get some dentistry done or whatever. They come to Bangkok specifically to reduce the amount that they have to spend. And it's also just a much better quality as well. So very, very straightforward. And luckily I'm healthy, fit as a fiddle, as they say, and shouldn't have to worry about any health problems for hopefully many years to come. Just recently turned 38 years old, so I'm still relatively young, and trying to go to the gym more often. So that's question number 4. Number 5 is, how can I own property or a house in Thailand? This is also a very common question that I get asked, and it's a bit complicated, but I will say that. As a foreigner, you can't own land over here. You could say that you really technically can't own land anywhere because typically it's owned by the bank. And if you're not paying your property taxes, they can just take the land away from you, including the house that is built on top of it, right? So it's really no different over here in Thailand. I think there's ways to get around that as well. If you have a company set up, possibly you can own the land. But chances are you're only going to get 49%, and then 51% of it goes to the majority shareholders, which are always going to be Thai people. So you set up the company, and you actually can't own the house either. So it's just going to be 49%. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I might be somewhat confused about how this all works. I do believe that there's loopholes of, ways of getting around with this. If you're working with a proper agency and you know people that have connections over here, there's probably ways to get around this. But for the most part, for the majority of the people, you're not going to be able to own land. So it's better to be married to somebody and then your wife can own the land and then you are just a shareholder and you can own a percentage of the company, right? But if you buy a condo or an apartment, that's 100% freehold, right? So there's leasehold, which is typically a villa or a house or whatever. And then there's also freehold where you can own 100%. So you own the company and you have 100% ownership of that company. And the condo is under that company. And I've just recently put up a video on my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll leave a card up here somewhere where you can check that out. My friends are looking to sell their penthouse condo in Maenam, which is a very, very attractive area for retirees here in Koh Samui, where I live. So if you're interested in more details about that, the price is 26 million baht. So that's about $780,000 USD. It's got one of the most spectacular views of anywhere that I've seen around the island. So I've got a lot of connections to real estate agents over here in Samui as well. And would be happy to make an introduction for you guys. And also, like I say, you're welcome to join my free newsletter in the description below. Question number 6 is, what is the culture and lifestyle like in Thailand? And how do you navigate cultural differences? This is just something that you're going to have to get used to. Chances are when you come over here for the first time, you're going to have a bit of culture shock. And that's completely normal. It happened to me as well. But after you've been over here for, at least a year, things just start to become more normal. And now for me, if I were to go back to the US, probably later this year, I should make a trip back to the US because I haven't been back for 5 years now. And, but I'm looking to get my family over here instead because they've never left the United States. But yeah, I mean, it's just like anywhere you go, you're going to have to adapt to the culture. And there's things that you just have to learn about Thai culture over here, which takes months or years. But once you know these things, it's pretty easy to kind of assimilate into the culture. And there's things that you need to understand about social life for retirees, expat communities, clubs, and then also learning the Thai language, that's the most difficult one for me. I've been over here 5 years and I have still barely scratched the surface of learning Thai. Unfortunately, even though my fiance is Thai, we almost always speak English together. So my Thai is really not advancing at all, unfortunately. And I haven't been to a Thai language school yet. Although there's one very, very close to my house here. Really no excuses, but yeah, unfortunately, I haven't learned the Thai language. That's something that I would recommend, especially if you're looking to stay over here over the long term, is at least learning a little bit of Thai. Just the basic conversational skills will get you a long ways. Yeah, and that ties into another question is, do you find it difficult to get by without speaking Thai? And I will say for the most part, living in a touristy island like Samui, it's really not that difficult. Most people speak at least a little bit of passable English over here. And for me, it's also easy as well because, like I mentioned, my fiance is Thai and she can usually just kind of talk for me. So it's really not that big of a deal, right? Number 7 is, what are the tax implications of retiring in Thailand? So do I need to pay taxes on foreign income or pensions? This one, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professional attorney or anything like this. I think that goes without saying. But I can say that if you're a U.S. citizen, for example, if you're watching this from the U.S. and you're thinking about coming over here and retiring, you're curious about the tax implications, chances are you're not going to have to pay taxes in Thailand unless you have a legal business set up, right? It's not going to be necessary to pay taxes twice on your pensions or on your earnings that you're getting in the US. So if you're getting what's called foreign earned income, such as I am from YouTube and Facebook for the most part, I am not required to pay taxes twice on that. And a lot of times the taxes just come out automatically. It's called tax withholding. So they just come out every single month and I don't even have to pay taxes on those, as far as I understand it. So as long as you're paying your taxes in the States, you're not required to pay again over here in Thailand. Now, keep in mind, if you're transferring a large amount of money over here every single month, you may be required to pay taxes on that because they're potentially going to be changing some of the laws regarding foreign earned income. It's still not entirely clear how that's going to look. Maybe I'll do an interview with a lawyer at some point on this YouTube channel just to get the full scoop on how the tax system works over here and everything. But for the most part, it's nothing you really have to worry about as long as you're paying your taxes in the US. Now, keep in mind, not every country has this double tax agreement, so I'd recommend doing your research and just seeing if you are required to pay taxes in Thailand and as well as your home country. So that answers question number 7. Again, make sure to do your own research. Don't distrust YouTubers, right? Make sure to do your research as well. And number 8 is, what are the options for transportation in Thailand? It's going to depend where you are in Thailand. But for the most part, it's really, really easy to get around, especially on the island here in Samui without a car. I ride my motorbike everywhere. It's the easiest way to get around. It's also just very pleasant experience, but you do have to be careful on a motorbike. So I wouldn't recommend coming over here and renting a motorbike, especially if it's your first time riding a motorbike. Koh Samui is not the best place to do it because it can be very dangerous. There's a lot of roadside fatalities over here. And luckily, I have never been in an accident, only once in Koh Phangan, and that's it. So I would prefer to keep it that way. And I definitely recommend getting health insurance. And then you can also get a driver's license as well, especially if you're planning on staying over here long term. But if you've reached retirement age, probably your safety is a number one issue for you. You're in your elderly years and you want to make sure that you're safe. So in that case, I would recommend either taking a taxi or Songtao, or also renting a car. Maybe you want to buy a car as well. There's plenty of dealerships around the island where you can buy a car. That's a great option. And if you're up in Bangkok, taxis are a great way to get around. They're usually very, very affordable. And they've also got Grab as well. So Grab is similar to Uber in the States, where you can basically just use a mobile app and you can hail a ride anytime you want. So between all those options, transportation is great. And taxis on the island are a little bit expensive. It's typically like 500, 600, 700 baht, which is definitely more expensive when you're comparing it to Bangkok, where you can get around for like 40, 50, 60 baht, sometimes up to 300 baht if you're going long distances. But yeah, very, very easy to get around anywhere you go in Thailand. And I will say, just make sure that they're using the meter when you're taking a taxi, because sometimes you will get scammed. Number 9, and this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to wrap it up relatively soon here. But how safe is Thailand for retirees? This is another common question that I get asked, and it is very, very safe. No matter where you're at in Thailand, it's very safe. And I will say that actually part of the culture over here is actually elderly people are more respected in Thai culture. So if you look at the families over here, a lot of times the kids are required to send money back to their family every single month. And so there's this concept of, I forget what it's called in Thai, but basically elderly people are respected members of the community, right? So you're just going to be probably even more respected than you are back in your home country over here. And the crime rates are incredibly low in Thailand. Keep in mind, it's a Buddhist culture. It's like, 98% of the people are Buddhist. They're just very friendly. This is one of the things that I've loved about living in Thailand. And one of the reasons why I stay here for 5 years now is the Thai hospitality. And everybody's so friendly over here. Smiles everywhere you go. Not always. This isn't always the case, obviously. That's a bit of a generalization. But for the most part, the people are much friendlier over here. I never feel at danger walking around, even at night in the city. Here on the island, really nothing much to worry about in terms of crime. And yeah, even like leaving your door unlocked at your house, don't really have to worry about anybody coming in and robbing you or anything like that. So it's much, much safer than most of the major cities in the United States, for example. Question number 10 is, can I work or volunteer while retired in Thailand? This is not a very common question, actually, but it's a good one. And the answer is no, unfortunately. On a retirement visa, you are legally not allowed to work. That's one of the stipulations of having the retirement visa is you cannot work in Thailand. In order to work, you will either need a work permit or a business visa. So you have your business or you work for a company over here. That's what will be required in order to work for Thai companies. And chances are, if you're retired, you don't really want to work anymore anyway. That's the whole point of being retired. You know, you don't want to be working for the man anymore. You've already done your service. You've contributed to society. You've worked for 20, 30 plus odd years, and now you just want to relax and enjoy the rest of your life, right? That's kind of the whole purpose of retiring in the first place. So they've kind of built that into the retirement visa where you're legally not allowed to work. Whew, I'm getting a little bit out of breath. We're on question number 11 here. And that is, what are the banking and financial options for retirees? Can I open a bank account in Thailand as a retiree? What is the best way to transfer money abroad? Are there ATM or currency exchange issues? These sorts of questions, right? Yes, you can definitely open a bank account over here in Thailand. That's no issue whatsoever. Once you have the retirement visa, you can open the bank account. There may be some way to do it before you have the retirement visa as well, especially if you're working with a visa agency over here. And if you have any questions or you want more information about the best visa agencies, just post a comment down below. There's a couple really, really good ones here in Samui, and then obviously tons to choose from in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Pattaya, wherever you are for the most part in Thailand. There's lots of agencies to choose from. And that's what I'd recommend just to get all the paperwork sorted out for you is you just go through an agency and they can do everything for you. You pay them the fee. It's probably not going to be very much, and they take care of everything for you, right? The best way to transfer money abroad, which I typically use, is called Wise. So there's Wise, formerly known as TransferWise, and then also Remitly. So between the two of those, that's how I always transfer money from my US bank account over to my Thai bank account. And links in the description below. I think it's the top one where you can sign up for Wise. If you do sign up with my link, I will get a small commission when you transfer. I think it's up to $200 British pounds. So just know that. And yeah, you're more than welcome to sign up for Wise. They offer very, very low transaction fees. The last question is ATM fees. So typically, if you're using a foreign bank account, so let's say US bank account, you will have to spend 220 baht every single time you go to the ATM. So that's roughly $7. It may not sound like a lot, but over time, that's going to start adding up. And I was doing this for around 2 years in Thailand, is I was just paying the fees. And a lot of times I would take out the maximum amount, like, 20,000 baht at a time, so that I could get my best bang for my buck. And I didn't have to keep going back to the ATM on a regular basis. So that's one of the big reasons why it's best just to open a Thai bank account. So you spend anywhere from about $0 to 10 baht every single time that you go to the ATM. So that's the best way to do it. You just come over here, you get the retirement visa, you open the bank account, and you're pretty much good to go. You can renew that retirement visa every single year. I think it's less than $300 to renew the visa every year. So very, very affordable. And yeah, so those are the most common questions in a nutshell that I get asked from people. Let me know if you have any questions or you need more detailed answers to any of these questions. And if you're planning on retiring in Thailand, I will say it's probably going to be one of the best decisions that you've made in your life. Like I've mentioned in many, many of my other videos, the cost of living is much lower over here. The quality of life is a lot better. And it's just a much, much happier life, I will say. Again, if you have any questions, post in the comments below. And also you can sign up for my free newsletter I charge nothing for that, and I basically provide free value in emails over about a month. And with that being said, I think I'm going to go get some lunch. It's about 1 p.m. here in Samui. Thanks so much for watching this video. I think this is one of the longest videos that I've made on my channel so far. So hopefully you enjoyed it, got a lot of value, and also consider becoming a paying subscriber as well, and check out my Patreon page where you can support me on a monthly basis. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Stay safe. Peace from Koh Samui. Till the next one. Hope to see you over here real soon.